story time, it's my favorite time, spending time reading with you. Welcome to another story time with Gam Gam. Let's see what we have for today.
Happy holidays. Thank you for joining me. This is Gam Gam's story time, The Puppy Who Wanted a Boy. You may have read this story before. I'm sure probably your parents or your grandparents have heard this story before. It's been around a long time and a very favorite of many people. The story was written by Jane Thayer and illustrated by Lisa McHugh, and this particular one was put out by Scholastic Books. They do a lot of great publications, and I love the way that they illustrated this book. So let's follow along with Petey. He's the puppy who wants a boy for Christmas. Let's see what happens in his world and see if you can recognize some of the dogs in this story. A couple different breeds, so let's see if you recognize them. One day, Petey, who was a puppy, said to his mother, who was a dog, that seems normal, "I'd like a boy for Christmas." His mother, who was a dog, said she thought he could have a boy if he was a very good puppy. So the day before Christmas, Petey's mother asked, "Have you been a very good puppy?" "Oh yes," said Petey. "I didn't frighten the cat." "You didn't?" asked Petey's mother. "What's it look like in the picture?" "Well, I just frightened her a little," said Petey. "And I didn't chew any shoes." "Not any?" said his mother. "Just a teeny weeny chew," said Petey. "And I remember, well, I almost always remember to bark when I want to go out." "All right," said his mother. "I think you've been such a little dog. You've been good for such a little dog. I will go out and get you a boy for Christmas." I wonder how she does that. Let's see what she finds. But when Petey's mother came back, she looked very worried. "How would you like a soft white rabbit with pink ears for Christmas?" she said to Petey. "No, thanks," said Petey. "Don't you want a lovely canary?" "I'd like a boy," said Petey. He seems to know exactly what he wants, doesn't he? "How about some guppies?" said Petey's mother. "Oh, they're cute, aren't they? Those little fish swimming around in the pool." "I just want a boy," said Petey. "Petey," said his mother at last, "there are no boys to be found." "No boys!" cried Petey. "Not one I could find. They're terribly short of boys this year." Petey thought he couldn't stand it if he couldn't have a boy. Do you ever feel like that when you can't get exactly what you want, that it's going to be just unbearable? I think that's what was going on with Petey. Finally, his mother said, "There now, there must be a boy somewhere. Perhaps you can find some dog who would give his boy away." That's an interesting idea. Let's see what Petey does. "Do you think I could?" asked Petey. "It wouldn't hurt to try," said his mother. So Petey started off. It wasn't long before he saw Collie racing with a boy on a bicycle. Petey trembled with joy. "Oh, how fun! If I had a boy on a bicycle," said Petey to himself, "I could run like anything. I'd take a little run right now, and I'll ask the collie politely if he'll give his boy away." What do you think? Do you think his chances are pretty good? Let's look at the next picture. So Petey leaped from the bicycle. After the bicycle, he called out to the collie, "Excuse me, do you want to give your boy away?" But the collie said, no, he definitely didn't, in a dreadful tone of voice. Ooh, that's scary. Petey sat down. He watched the collie and his boy on a bicycle until they were out of sight. "I didn't really want a boy on a bicycle anyway," said Petey. After a while, he saw a setter playing ball with a boy. Petey was delighted. "If I had a boy to play ball with," said Petey, "I'd catch the ball smack in my mouth. I'd like to catch the ball now." but he remembered how cross the collie had been. So he sat down on the sidewalk and called out politely, "Excuse me, do you want to give your boy away?" But the setter said no. He definitely didn't, in a terrifying tone of voice. "Oh, well," said Petey, trotting off. "I don't think playing ball is so much fun." See, he's trying to make himself feel better about not getting the dog that he wanted, or the boy that he wanted. Soon, Petey came to a bulldog. Did you see him in the window there? Sitting in a car with a boy. Petey was pleased, for he was getting a little tired from so much walking. "If I had a boy in a car," said Petey, "I'd laugh at walking dogs. I'd like a ride right now." So he called out loudly, but very politely, "Excuse me, do you want to give your boy away?" But the bulldog said no. He definitely didn't, and he growled in Petey's face. Can you imagine that? Grrr. Can you make a growling sound? Give it a try. "Uh-oh," said Petey. He hurried behind a house and stayed there until he saw the bulldog and his boy drive away. "Well, who wants to go riding in a car?" "Not me," said Petey, coming out from behind the house. He thought he would rest. He would just rest a while, though. He had come a long way for such a little dog. He was limping a bit when he started off again. After a while, he met a Scotty walking with his boy and carrying a package in his mouth. Do you see that? What do you think is in the package? Lots of snow, though, don't they? "Now that is a good kind of boy," said Petey. "If I had a boy to take walks with and carry packages for, there might be some dog biscuits or cookies in the package. I would like a cookie right now." He hadn't had any lunch. But he remembered how cross the collie and the setter and the bulldog had been. So he stayed across the street and shouted at the top of his lungs, but polite as could be, "Excuse me, do you want to give your boy away?" The Scotty had his mouth full with the package, but he managed to say no. He definitely didn't, and he showed his sharp teeth to Petey. Ouch! "Oh no, home for boys. I guess that wasn't the kind of boy I wanted either," said poor Petey. "But my goodness, where can I find a boy?" Well, Petey trotted on, but he couldn't find a single dog who would give his boy away. Petey's ears began to droop. His tail grew limp. His little legs were very tired. His mother was right, he thought. There isn't a boy to be found. What do you think? Do you think he's getting discouraged? Maybe starting to give up? He looks very wet and cold. Just as it was getting dark, he came to a large building on the very edge of town. Petey was walking by slowly when he saw a sign, "Home for Boys." "Maybe I can find a boy here," said Petey to himself. "These boys have no parents and no dog to take care of them either." He padded slowly up the walk of the home. He was so tired he could hardly lift his little paws. Then he stopped. He listened. He could hear music. He looked through the window. He saw a lighted Christmas tree and children singing carols. Can you imagine that? Listening and hearing Christmas carols? Then Petey saw something else. On the front steps of the building, all by himself, sat a boy. He was not a very big boy, and he looked lonely. Petey gave a glad little cry. He forgot about being tired. He leaped up and landed in the boy's lap. Sniff, sniff, went Petey's little nose. Wag, wag, went Petey's tail. He kissed the little boy with his warm, wet tongue. How glad the boy was to see Petey. He put both his arms around the little dog and held him tight. Can you do that? Pretend that you're holding a little doggy. Hold him tight in your arms. Give yourself a big hug, hugging that little imaginary dog. Then the front door opened and a lady looked out. Why, here you are, Ricky, she said. What is our newest boy doing out here all alone? Come on in and sit near the Christmas tree. Petey sat very still. The boy sat still. The boy looked up at the lady and down at Petey. Petey began to tremble. Would the boy go in and leave him? Scary thought, isn't it? I'm not alone, said the boy. I've got a puppy. A puppy? The lady came out and looked at Petey in surprise. Can he come too? Said the boy. Why, said the lady, you're a nice little dog. Wherever did you come from? Yes, bring him in. Come on, puppy, cried the boy. In they scampered. A crowd of boys was playing around the Christmas tree. They rushed at Petey. They picked him up and petted him. Petey wagged his tail. He wagged his fat little body. He frisked about and licked every one of the boys. Look at them. They're all eager and happy to see him. And there's the tree. What do you see on the Christmas tree? Candy canes? Popcorn and cranberries? Gingerbread men? Such fun. Can we keep him? Said one. Can we give him some supper? Said another. Can we fix him a nice warm bed? Said a third. Oh, I bet Petey was happy to hear all of that, don't you think? Some supper, because remember, he missed lunch, and a nice warm bed because he was tired and so cold. We will give him some supper and a nice warm bed, said the lady, and tomorrow we will find his mother and see if she'll let him stay. What do you think she's gonna say? Petey knew his mother would let him stay. She knew how much he wanted a boy. But wouldn't she be surprised, said Petey to himself with a happy little grin, when I tell her I got 50 boys for Christmas. Wow! So he wanted a boy for Christmas and he got 50. And I bet every single one of those boys was very happy with that special surprise gift they got also with a little puppy. Thank you for joining me. I hope that you have had a very fun and exciting holiday season. Remember to smile and share your love with those around you. You have a great day. I love you. Good night.